welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
And this is the midweek version of the Fiber Talk twice weekly podcast for needlework artists. Tonight, it's the third Wednesday. So the third Wednesday means it's Thread Talk with Kathy Ray from Needle in a Haystack. So join us at 8 p.m. tonight on the YouTube channel for our second installment of the Thread Talk thing. Kathy going to talk about ground cloth as it relates to threads. So that'll be educational.
Yes, very much so. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. It's really great, these shows, because we can sign on and go through the preliminaries and then just sit back and let her go, and we can learn right along with the rest of everybody. It's fun.
Yes.
Yep. So join us.
So knowledgeable.
Oh, I know. It's just automatic. Just falls out of her. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep. So join us 8 o'clock on the YouTube channel for Thread Talk with Kathy Ray. You'll learn something. If you don't learn something, you fell asleep. It's pretty much the way that went. Mm-hmm. Also, the Marion Lang free sampler that Kim at Sassy Jacks has made available for us. That's at wetalkfiber.com/lang, L-A-N-G. That's available now till after the show tonight. It was available for a week for free, so you can download the sampler chart. wetalkfiber.com/lang. And then /lang kit will take you to the page at Sassy Jack Stitchery, where you can, Kim has put together some kits, silk and cotton, different ground cloths. So Lang and Lang kit, you get a free chart, a really nice little sampler, and then she's put together some kits for you. So you can do that. And then the Amanda Rowe Mary Jane Fry 1861, that is still available at wetalkfiber.com/MJF1861. And then kits available at Sassy Jack's MJF 1861 kit. So all of those. And some people have said, I heard from a couple people that if you try to do that link from Facebook doesn't like redirects. And that's what's called a redirect link. I put that link together because it's easy to remember and easy to type. But if you try to use it from Facebook doesn't like that for some reason. So just copy the thing or type it into your browser and you'll get there. But I put that together because, so many of them, it's this long strung out garbled bunch of stuff that if you can't copy and paste it, you sit there for half an hour trying to type it in. So I put these redirects together so they're easy to remember, but then of course Facebook doesn't like it, but that's Facebook. I can't do that. So
nothing you can do about that.
Nope. If you're having trouble, just paste it into a browser, type it into a browser, wetalkfiber.com/lang or Lang kit or MJF 1861 or MJF 1861 kit, and it'll get you there. I've tested it 1,000 times because people say, I've heard, not a lot of people, but a good handful of people, I can't get it to work. I know exactly what it is. It won't work out of Facebook, but it'll work. Trust me. So try that. And Kim got her supply in. I got notice the other day that my Cosmo threads are coming, round 2. So
me too.
Yeah. Best small truckload of Cosmo threads.
I can't wait.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to petting them.
So wetalkfiber.com/Cosmo variegated will get you in there's still slots in the club for the variegated thread. There are not slots for the solid thread. But as soon as Kim is comfortable that she is getting a good supply and can keep up, she said she would open up some more slots in the solid color club. But she's just trying not to be in a spot where she's got a bunch of orders and she can't fill them. So she's
right.
It's just one of those things. Because you think, geez, I should be able to get in a club and get threads. There shouldn't be any limits on that. Well, these days there are. So,
right. And not just Kim's. I mean, there's other places that have clubs that you can't get into because they're full. It's supply and demand. It's just how it is.
Yep.
So
Simply can't get them. So, and then Spring Hill, WeTalkFiber.com/Spring Hill, still available at Needle and Haystack. That kit still available. Those kits, all three of them, all four or five of them. Join us for that. I haven't stitched, and yeah, you can catch up to me.
Yeah, I'm starting on that middle big flower in the top.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you win.
Pretty.
You win. Yep. I just gotta get a chance. And then May 2nd, Joanna Kabanoff will be our Mojo Stitches in Australia. She will be our guest. And then in conjunction with Sassy Jacks, we will be stitching her Take Wing design. And there's some specialty threads that Kim is waiting for from Australia, but she'll have kits for that too. And so we'll be starting that one too. And that's a beauty. That's a beauty.
It is pretty.
Yeah. And then what's the sampler? We both liked the little sampler she had too. What is that one?
Sarah Handley.
Yeah.
1847.
Yeah.
That one, I just love that. And it looks like it's a small, sweet little sampler.
Yep.
Stitch up in no time.
Okay, write that down. Yeah.
Yeah, right. As slow as I stitch, it'll be, 100, and I'll be working on it.
Yeah, so she'll be our guest on May 2. So check that out, Mojo Stitches. She has 3 or 4 charts, and new charts, and Take Wing really stood out for us. So we're going to start a stitch along with that one too. And Kim is putting together the kits, so that'll all be available on May 2nd, along with the podcast with her. And then Sunday is Lindsay Olsen. And I loved it. I loved talking to her. She designs needlework based on science. And yes, she's gone on a ship, a research vessel. I shouldn't say ship. It's a boat. A research vessel, a project to study the impact of sound in the ocean. What sounds are in the ocean, the impact of sound, and so on and so forth. And she lives here in the Chicago area, and so she's been to the Fermi Lab, yes, the accelerator there, and worked with the high energy physicists there, and then has what she learned about particle physics and high energy physics, she interprets in her needlework. And she has had several other experiences of this kind and she's not a scientist at all. She just keeps her, as we said, as a wise old guy said to me once when I was learning about semiconductors for a magazine long ago. He said, keep your mouth shut and your ears open. You might learn something. And I've followed that, and Lindsay she's like a sponge, and she learns it, and then she interprets it through her needlework. And you'll get a lot of science. We talk about the science of it and her experiences working with scientists as a needlework artist. So, fit that in. Really, really fun talking with her. She's just an amazing individual, an artist, and an amazing mind. So that's Sunday. It's really fun to talk to her. So, yeah, anxious to have that posted. And I think I say that every week, because like last Sunday with the ladies from
Relics in Situ.
Yes. Oh man, that was fun. Yeah. I actually listened to that a second time. I never do.
I'm planning on it. Yeah, I'm planning on going back and listening to that one.
Yeah,
I think they were fascinating when we talked to them.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to Lindsay, because that's science. That's what my family does. So
right.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah. We don't talk a lot about needlework, but it's about her finding her way into these scientific environments and then taking what she learns and interpreting that in needlework. That's what she does. So that's what we talked about. And that was fun. Yeah, it was fun. So, and the ladies from Relics in Situ, now they'll be back. Their schedule's pretty tight right now, but we're going to have them back for a live show. So a lot of those pictures you saw were just the tip of the iceberg of stuff they've done research on. And we'll have them back for a live show where they can talk about, with pictures on the screen, talk about different things. And I'm really looking forward to that. So,
yeah, that'll be great.
Other than that, we got nothing going on.
Nothing.
Nope.
It's just boring lives.
Dragging through the days. Yep. So you were talking about burnout from projects.
Yes.
And I find that a fascinating subject. Yes.
Because you don't get burnt out from your projects?
Oh, yeah. That's why I find it fascinating. Because how do you get burnout when you're so excited about a project that you'll spend, $150, $200 on threads and cloth and charts and everything else? How do you burn out from that?
Well, I think there's a couple of ways. One is, like, let's say you're working on something and you've made a huge mistake on it. And it's not like you can just fudge it. It's not like you can say, well, this will be okay. It'll be just part of it. It's like you have to do major removal and you're like, okay, I just don't want to deal with it. And you put it away. And then you just get frustrated with the whole stinking thing. But I also think sometimes people, if you plow through a project, and it's a large one, and you get to the end of it, there's this feeling of like, oh, now what? Kind of this maybe not wanting to stitch anything else, taking a little break. Like you lose some of that creative energy, I guess, is what I would say. And you need to reboot or recharge.
Yeah. But go back to that first one, because I've had that happen to me. And it seems like it's such a fine line between, like you said, I got to tear a bunch of stuff out. It's such a fine line between plowing ahead and doing that and then restitching it right, and then just getting frustrated and just throwing it aside. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't understand the mental process there, and it's happened to me, and I really don't understand, because it's like a hair trigger, and you're turned off on the project, and it gets set aside, and then before you know it, there's 4 more ahead of it, and you forget about it. And
right.
I don't know why that happens.
Yeah, and the thing is, and then how do you get, like right now, we're doing the 17th century whitework sampler with Tricia Nguyen. And I was looking through some of it's not the actual physical lessons of the sampler we're working on, but it's like background information. And going through that and looking at them made me want to pull out my drawn thread sampler from Gay Ann Rogers. Because Tricia Nguyen's instructions, not that Gay Ann's are a slouch of instructions. Her instructions are wonderful, but these are photo images of how to do the stitches. And I'm like, all of a sudden my eyes opened and I looked at them and I was like, oh, I think I can do this now.
Oh.
It was like the photos helped me where the line drawings of Gay Ann's were harder for my mind to interpret. I don't know, but now it made me back to excited about that one drawn thread sampler. So it's still sitting in the basement.
So because of this one, you flipped to another one and got excited about one that's been collecting dust.
Right.
Now, are you a person who learns visually?
I must be. I like looking at pictures. I find I learn the best if I repeat it 3 times. I'm a repetition learner. So I know the first time I do something, it's going to be bad. And I just need to ignore that it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Because it takes me 3 times to learn something.
But does
And
it? But like when you talked about looking at those photos from Tricia, does that speak to your mind? Is there a clarity there that you
Yes.
don't get if you read or you see a diagram?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and that
I can
happens all
follow
the time to
diagrams.
you then.
Yes, I can follow a diagram like I'm working on Royal Garden. Her diagrams are wonderful. I can follow it. I have no problem. But I found myself when I was doing the diagram for an Amadeus stitch, I went and flipped. It wasn't clicking right away, and I was like, just need to look at the picture. So I looked at the cover image, and I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. And then I went and did the stitch.
So it does
Even though
speak
it's
to you.
never.
It does then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that because as a teacher, former teacher long ago, but even I consider my magazine work just a different form of teaching, and you always have to plan your presentations for the people who learn by reading, those who learn visually, and those who learn by hearing. Right. There's got to be an opportunity for all three of them to learn, and of course then there's all crossover and hybrid people all mixed in there too. So you have to do that. So it's interesting to me. So that because I learn by reading. Pictures, I really don't need the pictures. There's something about the written word if it's done well, and diagrams help. But that's the way I learn, and so it interests me. Yeah.
Right. And see, and like, okay, so I'm reading through Tricia Nguyen's stuff, and again, I read it, and I was like, okay, that didn't make any sense. Let me go back and reread it.
Uh-huh.
And look at the pictures and try to connect the pictures to what I just read. And I can do, like, and her lessons are long, but I can only do like one lesson at a time because she does use a lot of words, even though she has a lot of images.
Right.
So, yeah. So reading doesn't get it for me.
Right. Well,
and
she's an
I
engineer.
Like
she's an engineer, so she'll write detailed things till the cows come home. Yeah.
Right. And what I like about her writing, though, is it's logical. She does do it in a logical manner. That the engineering mind, I can relate to that. But yeah, I need those photos. I need those photos.
I live with it every day.
I'm married to an engineer. What do you get? Yeah.
Okay, but it's just interesting, and I think it's interesting from the perspective that no matter who you are, if you identify how you learn best, you'll get more out of your needlework, I think.
Right. And I was just thinking, I've got my Inspirations magazine here, which has got lovely photos in it. And it has such great, I think that's what I like about it. It just doesn't have the written instructions. I will skim through the written instructions, and then I'll go back and I'll look at the diagrams, the pictures that they have. Because that's what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I won't read the instructions as much as I will go back and look and see, well, how did they do that? And I'll go look at the pictures that they have for me.
Yeah. So you're actually to the point where you really don't, in most instances, need the written word. You just show me.
Show me.
Yeah. And I'll get it. I can't. And see, I can't relate to that. I have to have those written words. So because I know, I mean, I've always been that way. Which, served me well in school to a point, but, so yeah, you put a picture in front of me. Yeah, that looks nice. Now tell me how, let me read about how to do it, and then we'll figure it out. And so then you look at the picture and it speaks to you. That's interesting.
Right. And I'll go back and read it if I need further clarification. But first I look at the photo.
Yeah.
Or the image.
Because that orients you.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Right.
I love it. Yeah. See, and that's where I would venture. It'd be interesting to do a study, because I would suggest that people who have the most success in live classes, and this is a generalization I should not make, but I would suggest that a good number of them are people who learn by hearing, by having an expert tell them. And yeah, you're shown, but there's an audio track that goes with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I do know people who will take needlework classes and not work on the project there.
Yeah.
They're just like, I can't, I'll make too many mistakes. They might bring a doodle cloth or pretend to stitch on the edge, but they're not stitching. They're not stitching.
Yep.
They're waiting till they get home. And like if it's a 2-day class, sometimes it's amazing. They'll come back with all the work done.
Yeah.
The work that you spent all day learning, and they're like, yeah, I got it. And they'll be done. They'll have all that pre-work done or all the work done and come back and listen for some more. So. Right.
Yeah. Because the class environment is too much of a distraction.
Right.
Yeah. See, so the next time, all right, do me a favor. The next time that your guild gets together, kind of do a straw poll and see if people are aware, if they're aware of how they learn. I'd be interested.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll bet for some, they've never thought about it. I bet, it'll be, well, wait a minute. No, I have to think about this, and a light bulb will go on, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. It's just fun. And it's, it's just the way we're all different. We all learn. And then you'll get somebody who, I know people who have a hard time watching TV if closed caption isn't on. And it's so that tells me that they're not good listeners, but they're good readers.
That's interesting because my son has started, when he came home, he goes, let's put closed captioning on. And so he did. And I was like, wait a second. Why do you, I know he's not going deaf.
Yeah.
He can still hear, but he is a fabulous reader.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
See, there it is.
Because he reads.
Yeah. But see, then for me, now, reading and reading comprehension have always been a strength for me. But I cannot stand having closed caption on. And I refuse to watch subtitled foreign films. I will not watch them because it's the editor in me and the reader in me. I lock in on the words. And being an editor is a curse because then I start editing the words and I completely miss the acting and the action because I'm reading the words, see? So I like subtitled films, I will not watch them because it'll be all over with and I'll have read the story, but I didn't see any of the acting, So that's interesting that he's doing that.
Yeah. And I can't remember why he wanted the subtitles on, but he did. He said, let's put them on.
Yeah. Ask him. I'd be curious.
I'll have to ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's you would think, well, what's this got to do with needlework? It's got a lot to do with it. Because if you understand how you learn, then you will approach it, you will seek out that learning channel, and your learning will be faster and more effective and stick with you better if you do that. And if you're always fighting by trying to learn in a way that just doesn't speak to you, that's when the frustration sets in. Yeah.
Right. And I wonder too, some people have a hard time like with charts, with like the counted canvas charts, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if that isn't because of a learning style.
I would be willing to bet it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it would be fun to put 100 needle pointers in a room and say who does painted canvas, who does charted canvas, and then figure out how they learn. And I'll bet you I bet the readers tend more toward charted canvas, and those who learn visually more toward painted, and then there's crossover, and the audio people are probably a mix. I would venture that, yeah, because I would bet that the visual learners can look at a painted canvas and start to take stitches in their mind and bring it to life. But then they look at a blank canvas and they go, "What am I going to do with that?" Yeah, I bet you. Yep.
Right. And then I can think of someone who I know who does both beautiful painted canvas and charted. And she's probably a mixture of a couple of kind of learning because she's, just of her personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. But it's, it helpful, determine how you learn and then seek out that channel and you'll get more out of it. Yep.
Right.
Stick with you.
Right.
Yeah. Education's fun. You think you get out of school and you think it never goes away. Ever.
No. And no. Nope. And you get to learn more.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's that burnout, back to the original subject of the burnout. Yeah. It intrigues me how a project you're all excited about can just fall off the table. And,
right. And you don't want to work on it anymore.
No.
And,
no.
Right. It's like, okay, I'm done with this. And I think that's what fascinates me about people who rotate through their projects. I think that might help with burnout. I think I can't imagine just working solely on one project until you got it finished. And then you worked on the next one until you got it finished. That does not appeal to me. I'm more I don't have a real regular rotation, but I do rotate through projects.
Yeah.
And so I'm always watching, okay, now how are these people planning their month of stitching? I can never get that organized to do that, but no. I wonder if that helps with burnout though.
Yeah, I wonder too, because you look, Jennifer, with that whip go or whatever that thing's called. She has been just flying through stuff since she started doing that. Right. And yeah, I'm with you. I can't comprehend that, but I think it'll be interesting after a year of doing that, what her reaction is. But I bet I will be willing to bet that by the end of the year, that Jennifer has finished more projects in the year than she ever has, just because of that. Just it seems to have put a structure to it, and she is just eating it up. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think it helps some people. I think some people might feel a little locked in by it, but which is why I didn't do it. I was afraid I would be like, oh, I've got to just work on these projects. But for some people, I think it might be a little bit freeing, if you made your goals correct, that you could, I'm going to work on this for a little bit, but then now I could work on whatever I want, or I'm moving through some of these old projects that have been sitting around waiting for some attention. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's something I have in my head, to be sure and ask Jennifer at the end of the year, if she's completed more projects and made more progress than in any previous year. I bet she has. Because she's sticking to it like glue. She really is. So it's just, yeah, it works. See, and I if I have a deadline or feel an obligation on those things, it sucks the fun out of it in a hurry for me.
Yes, it does. For me too. Yeah. You tell me, in fact, I have to laugh. Our guild had a finish in a year project last few times, and I would sign up, dutifully, bringing a project, and you know what? I never would get any of them done.
Yeah.
And it was something about that, having that stinking deadline on this project, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't feel like working on that right now.
Yep. I know that feeling. It's like, no. Oh, but you need to do it, and you feel that pressure. Nah, I don't feel like it.
No.
I want to be over here.
I don't feel like it. I'd rather work on. Yeah. So, yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. It's like high school rebellion or something. Who knows? That's what someone told me. He's like, it's like you're a high school student who says, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
rebellious teenager.
that's right.
Uh,
Still hasn't grown up. Still.
no, still,
Yeah.
still.
But it's just, yeah, I don't, because see, to me, there's enough things in life that you have to get done by a certain point. And, my day job, I live with deadlines. I mean, that's,
Hmm.
it's just an endless parade of deadlines because the ultimate deadline is magazine has to go to the printer, and it has to go to the printer on this day because it has to get printed on this day because it has to get mailed on this day. And,
Right.
I mean, I just live for that or live with it, and it's just a reality. And those, the printer deadline doesn't budge. And you miss the printer deadline, you go to the end of the line. They'll fit you in when they can, and because
Right.
there's surprise, surprise, there's others. so, so for me, to slap deadlines on something I consider fun is it just no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sucks the joy out of it, like you said, and we do needlework because it's fun. We enjoy stitching, and why add that extra pressure?
Yeah,
I mean, there's times like maybe you want a deadline to get a project done for a gift, or if you're turning something in for a group correspondence courses, sometimes they have deadlines. But other than that, like this is supposed to be enjoyable.
yeah, enjoyable in the amount you want at the time you want.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And some days it's not at all. And some days, get out of my way. I'm having breakfast and I don't want to talk to you till the end of the day. Um, yeah,
I got to do some stitching, some
that's
serious
right.
needle and thread time.
And get out of my way. Yep.
I'm going
Yeah.
to poke you with my needle.
Yeah. Yeah. I have weapons and I'll use them.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I do know I can stab something 10,000 times.
I have experience. Yep. And this, you follow now Julie Fay-Fan Balzer. You follow.
Yes.
I subscribe to her and I get her blogs and I will admit I skim the stuff that she writes, but you follow her pretty closely and because she speaks to you more in what you like to do, but she has some good
Right,
insights.
right.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, she's yeah I like she sees the picture. I like her. Yeah.
Right,
Because what is this? Spending time and energy and money to work on the foundation of your artwork.
right. So she was talking about um, if you don't have a good foundation, and she was talking about mixed media or maybe abstract art or anything, any sort of like a painting medium. I think this goes for needlework too. That if you don't know the basics, then you really can't build up on it. And she was talking about even basics of composition, those sort of things. Um, but so you to really have, I think some of the people whom we really love that really call us, and I'm thinking of Jen Aiden Christie, Jen Aiden, that's her name.
Yes.
Her work is beautiful, especially the stuff like her the little wrens and things. But she must have a very firm foundation on composition, on how things work. And I think as needlework artists, I think sometimes we skip over some of that stuff. We just follow the charts or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I think if you want to grow in that, we need to learn some of that stuff. And that's what was calling to me about that is like, and what we were talking about last time about taking a class in color theory, taking a class in design, taking a class in composition. I think those would be helpful, to make my needlework, to make me maybe feel more confident in creating something on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with a totally blank canvas and saying, okay, I'm gonna create something.
So it's the fundamentals then. So it's
Right.
like everything else. It's the fundamentals because that's like if you look at good sports teams, they're generally good because they are very good at the fundamentals and the coach makes them work on fundamentals all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have that foundation. So when things get harried and the pressure's on, they are the best at the very core of whatever they do. And that, the upper level, the higher tiered skills and activities may come apart, but the basics are still there, and so the core stays intact. And so I see that in the needlework then is basically understanding tension and color interaction and how different threads behave and how to control them, all those basic things that when you get into a difficult spot, that's what gets you through it.
Right. And I don't know, I'm thinking about Royal Garden. I was working, what was that? The satin floss, nasty, disgusting stuff.
Joining us this afternoon is Debbie Rowley. Debbie, talk to us.
Debbie, tell us how to use that. So I've used that for Brazilian. I think I've used rayon thread before. I can use it. I think I was just having problems with laying the long stitches, getting it to come out nicely, and I finally said, enough. And I thought, you know what? I hate to give up so quickly on this thread, but I thought, you know what? I just don't want it. This is not fun anymore. Mm-hmm. But it did make me think I need to do something with that thread. I need to take a piece of waste canvas and just, because I can lay it in short and make it nice and smooth. I just couldn't get it to manipulate to do the Amadeus stitch. Uh-huh. It's just like, I could not get it. It was just, and I think I'm looking at my fingers now. I have a cut on one of my fingers, and I'm thinking, I wonder if it was catching on that even. Mm-hmm. Because it's that kind of thread. It would just take a little bit and it would become like, you catch it and then you've got to cut it out. And that's what was happening. I tried one time and I caught it and I was cutting that. It was like, I was like, okay, I'm done. But that goes to the, how to use that thread. I mean, I thought if it hadn't been a Sunday afternoon, I would have sent Debbie an email, but I knew I wanted to get this stitch done and I didn't want to just send out an email. But if I was going to, I might even send her an email. I probably should say, how do you use this thread? How do you get this thread? Because I took it out and I did like I do with normal floss. I separated each strand and I even wet it to get it to lay a little smoother. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell. Did she just keep it as a bundle? Yeah. I don't know. She didn't say in her instructions. Oh. And I just assumed you stranded it because it's a stranded floss. But that would be something like if you were in a class situation or, she was sitting across the room, or if I was at a guild meeting, I could say, ladies, what do you do with this stuff?
Yeah. But you're on your own and you got to sort it out. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's some of, again, and I have worked with rayon before. But if you've never done any of that, how do you know? And that's sort of the basics of a foundation. How do you use these threads? We automatically, as people who've been stitching for a long time, assume people know how to use certain threads. Well, if you've only used cotton floss, how would you know how to use pearl cotton?
Yeah.
It's a different thread. It behaves a little differently. Not a lot, but it is different.
Right. Yeah, because with cotton floss or with pearl cotton, you got to watch the twist, and you got to watch how much you drag it through the ground cloth because it'll start to lose its sheen, and you can tell. Right. And if you don't control those two things, it won't look right. And
right.
Yeah. And with regular old DMC floss, you don't think about that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or using a silk. How is a silk different than using just a cotton floss? Mm-hmm. Or stitching a satin stitch just versus stitching a cross stitch. What makes a satin stitch look nice versus just doing a cross stitch? Well, if you've never experienced any of those things, those are all basic things. And if we've been stitching for a while, you think, oh, well, doesn't everybody know this? Well, no. If you've never done it, how would you know?
Right. Yeah.
And so taking classes or you reading books.
But you had, see, what stuck out for me in all of that was you had the right approach. Okay, you said, all right, I am not going to waste more time. I shouldn't say waste, but I'm not going to use more time on this project fighting with this thread. I'm going to use another thread that will get the job done and allow me to move forward. But then in your mind is, at some point, I'm going to learn how to manipulate this rayon thread and learn how to make it behave so I can get the look I want. And,
Right.
and you know, that's a doodle cloth, that's playing around, maybe asking some people, but it's worth it because then the next time it shows up, you don't have to make that switch. You'll know, oh yeah, that's right, this thread does this and this. So off you go. Yeah.
Right. And I know, like neon rays, a lot of people don't like that thread, because you do have it does twist and whatever. I do love it now because someone said, well, this is how you're supposed to stitch with it, Beth. And she instructed me on it. And I was like, oh, wow, just total difference. You know, it made a difference in my opinion on it and how to use it and how to get it to look the way I wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And, you know, just, you know, careful laying. She said, you got to look at the back of your canvas to make sure you're not twisting it, Beth. And once I learned those things, it just made the thread much more enjoyable to stitch because I love how it looks. I love how it looks. And I did like how the satin floss, the first stitch I got in, I was like, oh, that is so nice and shiny. And I put the second stitch in and that was okay. And then it was the third stitch. That was it. That was the end. I could only get to the third stitch. And I was like, I'm done.
Yep. But, you know, but yeah, when you get to that point, but then it's, well, wait a minute. They make this thread and people use it and they must have success with it because if everyone was miserable, they'd never get used and they wouldn't make it. So there has to be a way to make it look right. And so it's just, well, all right, I got to figure that out or get some coaching, but,
get some coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because if everybody hated it and couldn't get it to look right, they wouldn't make it because it would never sell.
Right.
Yeah,
right. And it does. It's a beautiful shiny thread, and I can think of like Brazilian embroidery. In fact, that was the other thing I thought of. I thought, shoot, if I had a round rayon in this color, that's what I would just substitute it right in.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything in my stash that would work. And so, you know, I live in a needlework desert right now. So I, you know, to go and call a needlework store and say, okay, do you have something that's kind of this color, that's shiny, that I could use? That's, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you know,
happening.
that's kind of a ugly reality for a lot of people these days is you can't just jump in the car and go to the needlework store. And with your project in hand and with the thread you're using, you're having trouble and say, hey, help me find something that will substitute. And yeah, you can't do that. Too many people don't have that. And of course, on Sunday, they're all closed anyway, so it wouldn't even matter.
Right. That wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
So
it's always Sunday.
My stitching time.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. No, the fundamentals. It's interesting to me because it never, no matter what the hobby or activity, the people who are best at the fundamentals are probably the ones who are best at doing it. Period. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is. Yeah. People like woodworkers, people who know wood and know how it behaves, no different than thread. Are the ones who are going to be able to cut it, sand it, stain it, shape it, whatever, and be most effective because they understand the fundamentals. And you know, I'm sure that's the way it is. Like with sailing, I'm sure that's the same thing. You know.
Right.
Yeah, taking the time.
Right. Or taking the time to learn how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll be curious to see how you do with rayon thread as you practice with it.
I'm going to have to find a different project for that thread because I've got it. And now it's like, okay, I really would like to know how to make it work. So.
Yeah. Well, there's an element of curiosity there. Okay, all right, I want to learn about this. Yeah. but not now
Mm-hmm.
because I want this project to move forward. Yes.
Right, 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 right,
Yep. Yep.
right.
Yep. Well, there we have it. Let's see what else. Oh, this one keeps coming back to me. Remember when we had Jennifer Clouston on and the
Yes.
statement, grab what you have and make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked to a ton of people, experts in all aspects of needlework. But that is one statement that has stuck in my head through all of them. Grab what you have and make it work.
Right.
Because how many projects get put on hold because I don't have this thread or I'm not sure how to do this. And,
Mm-hmm.
no, take a different approach. Yeah.
Right. And even the, well, like I said, the Debbie Rowley piece, I was bound and determined to stitch on it. And I did not want to, I thought, okay, if I quit because this thread doesn't work for me, this might end up in that frustration pile. And I thought, no, I am just going to pull one of the other threads. And I was looking for something that I had plenty of. I went through the whole stack and I looked through where she was using different threads. And I thought, okay, I don't have a whole lot of choices because you do use a whole lot of threads in different spots in that piece. And so I thought, well, you know what? I have a lot of this pearl cotton, and this pearl cotton will look fabulous here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I use. Now, it's not, is it shiny? No. So I'm missing the shiny aspect of it, but it works. And I did a little bit, I kept going. I put that piece in and then I went and added another element in to make sure that color, it looks like it'll look fine where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, I actually like it. I really like the color I chose there. And I thought, okay, this works. I can keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And it got me over that frustration level too, because I was kind of mad at the time that I couldn't get it to work. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, now, okay, so then that makes me want to ask the question. You in doing that, you introduced a whole different texture to that spot,
right?
And so that visually obviously worked too. Then,
yes, it's it's an Amadeus, and I can't remember the stitch that's above it, and those are pearl also.
Okay.
And so there's not shiny there, but so it's supposed to be shiny, and but it still looks good.
Yeah.
It's still, to me, I really wonder if I wasn't supposed to leave it twisted. Now that I've got the stitch in, because if you're laying it flat, if you're laying those long stitches flat, it gives a totally different look than if you've got a twisted thread. It changes it, and I'm just wondering now if I shouldn't have left it twisted. Looking at the photo, looking at the what Debbie did.
Yeah, instead of stranding it, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Instead of pulling it and stranding. And I even tried less strands. I tried 4 strands. But anyway, I just wanted to use what I had. And the same, I know Kim at Sassy Jacks is going to be doing Botany Bay. We talked about that last time.
Yes, I like that one.
Isn't that neat? But I was looking through my threads and I am missing, or I can't find them, colors from DMC. And I thought, okay, I need more threads in my stash. Like I need a hole in my head. What colors? I pulled out the DMC thread card and I've got to take the time and go through. I'm going to try some of my Victorian Mottos threads, see if some of them will work. I'm going to substitute. I think it looks like a brown trees on here. And I'm thinking, I don't like those brown trees. I'm going to make them green. Mm-hmm. So I've got to go and find a green that'll work. But I'm going to use what's in my stash. I know I've got a piece of fabric that'll work, and away we go.
Yep.
Just use what I have.
Yeah. Now, see, are you doing it on the Linen and Threads hog bristle, or what are you using for linen?
I don't have any. I don't have hog bristle. I was looking at it. I think I've got a fiber on the whim.
Okay.
That's the right color and count.
Because
And I have
we
something that
have
says
some of
it's
that
yellow.
coming. We have some of that coming
Yes.
from Australia. It's on a ship somewhere, Suez Canal. Because that one I
Yes.
think is I think I'm going to do it on the hog bristle.
I think it would look great on the hog bristle.
Yeah.
I really think it would look very nice on the hog bristle.
Plus,
But I don't have hog bristle in my hot little.
well, I'm going to wait till it gets here. So, plus just to be able to say
you
I
have other
stitched.
things to stitch.
Huh? What's that?
Because you have other things you can stitch. You
No,
have
I
other
don't.
things you can
I'm just
stitch?
sitting here waiting. No, I don't have a thing.
Okay.
But I'm going to wait, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus,
Because
to
you're
be able to
patient,
say,
unlike me.
to be able to say I stitched on hog bristle. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And an Australian sampler on hog bristle.
Right. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, Kim's got that going on. Yeah, I haven't tracked what she's put together. I'm sure she's put together kits and everything for Botany Bay, but and then that's the sampler of the month at the attic too.
Right.
Is the Botany Bay? It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But again, going back to Jennifer's statement, use what you have now. Kim and you can buy it from the Kim in the attic. But I really was thinking, you know what? I have enough threads. I have the chart.
Really?
I just need to go pull some.
Are you sure?
Yes. I think so. I wonder if some of my Cosmos would work. I should see if one of the green Cosmos would work.
Bet it would. Yeah, I bet it would.
One of the variegated.
Yeah. If you're into that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm looking at Cosmo for that.
Yeah.
Hog bristle, 40 count, and Cosmo threads is what I'm looking at. Yeah. Gonna do it. I'm gonna do that one in cotton for sure. And then I've been looking at a couple. I want to do a sampler on white.
Oh.
Because all of them are always done on something that's meant to look in some way or another old. I don't like overdyed, mottled. I don't like those linens. Never have. I like a solid background. But I want to do one on white, a white linen, or barely white.
Right.
Yeah, I want to
like
see
an
that.
antique white.
Yeah, but not made to look like parchment or dirty whatever. No, I want.
Right.
Yeah. I've never seen one.
Colors will pop.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's done one like that, but I've never seen it. And I just think it would be a really unique look. I don't know. Yeah.
I think what even Sarah Hanley, if that's a nice small sampler and those colors are so vibrant, if on a white or a slightly, because sometimes white is too harsh. You'd have to really pull the colors and put it, but and I want to say Zweigart makes one. It's called antique white. So it's not the bright white, but it's not ecru. It's that one that's in between.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think it would, because then all the, the reds and the greens, the blues, they'll all just really pop off the fabric.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. You can't go stark white because that's too hard on the eyes. Yeah. There's got to be a little color to take the edge off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just do that.
Would be fun.
Maybe I'll just do that Sarah Hanley, and that'll be my one. Yeah. I've just always wanted to try it, so at some point I'm going to do it because I can.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I just think I think it would be a nice fresh look. I do. So we'll see. But Botany Bay, get in on Botany Bay. Whether it's the attic or Sassy Jack's, either place, get in on the deal because it is one cool sampler, and you'll enjoy that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of fun stitches.
Yep.
Lots of fun stitches.
Yeah.
It's got a unicorn in it.
I know. Yeah, there you go. What more could one ask?
And we got a unicorn. Why not?
You can't beat that. Yep. So yeah, check that out. And as we've said many times, when it comes to the attic, be sure and get the every month get the newsletter, because it's just it's a small book.
Mm-hmm.
You think of a newsletter, 2 articles and a logo. No, this is usually 30 or more pages of pictures of samplers and other needlework and things people have finished and projects coming up and classes. And yeah, it's one of those you need.
It's always interesting.
Yep. Never miss it. Okay. That's going to be it. Join us tonight. Kathy Ray.
All right.
Beth will be there. I'll be there. We're going to do it. It's going to be fun. We're going to learn.
It'll be a party.
Bring pencil and paper. You're going to want to make notes. That's the thing. Yeah, these Kathy Ray ones, you're going to want to make a note or two. Yep. She will teach you things. Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. Talk to you tonight.
Bye.